Please welcome Ms. Susan Ebersole, Lehman College's Vice President for Institutional Advancement and Executive Director of the Lehman College Foundation.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Herbert H. Lehman College Foundation's 50th anniversary celebration. Thank you so much for joining us and for your generous support. I'm here tonight because I believe in Lehman College and because I believe that this outstanding institution, which has achieved great success in its first 50 years, has become one of the nation's most important public colleges. Lehman's president, Dr. Jose Luis Cruz, likes to describe the college as mission critical, and it most certainly is. The communities our college serves in the Bronx and beyond are counting on us, and while we know we are making a difference for thousands of students each year, we also want to extend the promise of opportunity even further, and we invite you to join us in this cause. I'd like to take a minute to talk about our students, some of whom are here this evening. Each day, they bring their A game to our campus, their insatiable curiosity, strong work ethic, and an intense desire to improve their lives. We are so proud of them. I would love to ask our students to stand, take a bow, and for us to applaud them. These young people are the reason we are counting on our friends and supporters so that we can advance our mission for the next 50 years out of love for the institution and for those who will benefit the most from what Lehman has to offer. It is now my great pleasure to introduce Myrna Rivera, Chair of the Herbert H. Lehman College Foundation Board. A proud Lehman graduate, Myrna received the college's Alumni Achievement Award in 2006. She is founder and CEO of Consultiva Internacional, an investment advisory firm based in Puerto Rico. Under her remarkable leadership, the foundation has awarded millions of dollars in scholarships to Lehman students. Ladies and gentlemen, Myrna Rivera.
Good evening, everyone. I bring you greetings from a resilient and recuperating, enchanted island of Puerto Rico. Thank you all very much for your thoughts and prayers. And as an added benefit, we have brought you some of our warm weather. Good evening, and welcome to our 50th anniversary celebration. First, I would like to thank tonight's honorees, generous, exemplary individuals without whose help tonight would not be possible. Lehman alum Phyllis and Ivan Seidenberg, Joanne Walsh Stavro, another alum, and her husband, Christopher Stavro. Miss Kerry Washington, who needs no introduction. And Wendy Lehman Lash, who will accept the President's Medal on behalf of her grandparents, Edith and Herbert Lehman, humanitarians, public servants, and leaders in the fight for equality worldwide. Wendy Lehman Lash. As Susan mentioned, I'm a proud Lehman alum, but I'm even more proud to serve as chair of the Herbert H. Lehman Foundation. Lehman College now has 75,000 plus alum. That's 75,000 plus lives that have been transformed through the power of an education. That is something we can all celebrate, and I would like to thank each one of you for being here to celebrate it with me. For nearly 7 years now, it has been my extraordinary privilege to serve under two visionary presidents, Dr. Ricardo Fernandez, whom I believe is with us this evening. Yes? Welcome. And now Dr. Jose Luis Cruz, who will speak shortly. Yes. And during that time, the foundation has raised millions of dollars for scholarships to fund the dreams of our students who year in and year out never fail to inspire us with their successes. Tonight we celebrate the storied past of this wonderful institution, but my eyes are on the prize, making the next half century possible for the most promising, motivated, inspiring students you will ever meet. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you so much for your support. And now it is my honor to introduce Dr. Jose Luis Cruz, President of Lehman College, who in very short order has charted a bold path for the college, one that has potential to put a Lehman diploma in the hands of even more students, and one that could transform our home borough of the Bronx and the city of New York. Ladies and gentlemen, President Jose Luis Cruz. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Myrna. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. Tonight's gala officially kicks off the festivities commemorating the 50th anniversary of Lehman College, or as I like to refer to it, the most important mission-critical senior college of the world's greatest urban university. We gather to celebrate 50 exceptional years of Lehman as an engine of opportunity, a vehicle of upward mobility, and a driver of transformative change. 50 impactful years of Lehman as the intellectual, economic, and cultural center of the great borough of the Bronx. 50 formidable years of Lehman as a fierce defender of the tenets of social justice that characterized the life's work of our namesake, Herbert H. Lehman. And because we all know that 50 is the new 30, it's true, right? Please say yes. Yes? Okay. I know that tonight we are all energized by the realization that Lehman's best years are still ahead of us. So it is that tonight I am privileged to welcome all of you to Lehman's 50th Anniversary Leadership Awards celebration. Tonight's honorees illuminate the values integral to the culture of a most noble institution. And it is by recognizing their exemplary leadership that we reaffirm our college's commitment to supporting the next generation of leaders. The leaders who will help us navigate the cyber confusion, political disruption, social turmoil, economic inequality, and climate upheaval of the turbulent times we live in. The leaders who will help us eradicate the structural inequities of the America we have constructed. The leaders who will help us fulfill the twin promises of opportunity and social mobility that fuel the advancement of the democracy we hope to perfect. Some of those leaders are here tonight, our Lehman students and recent graduates. Let's give them another great big round of applause for what they do and what they mean for us moving forward. So now, without further ado, I'd like to present the first of our leadership awards. On behalf of Lehman College and the Lehman College Foundation, I am pleased to present the Lehman Award for Business, Cultural, and Civic Leadership to Joanne Walsh Stabru from the class of 1976 and Christopher Stabru At the heart of the established philanthropic investments in support of cultural and civic causes here and abroad is a genuine and enthusiastic desire to make the world a better place, a desire that was informed by their public higher education experiences, hers at Lehman, his at Rutgers, and their remarkable accomplishments, hers on Wall Street, his in the investment industry. A desire that is shared by Lehman students, many of whom, like Joanne, are first-generation students raised in the Bronx. A desire that is at the heart of our Lehman students' investments of their time, talent, and energy in the communities they inhabit and the causes they believe in. Joanne and Christopher have set the bar high, and inspired by their life's work, our students endeavor to take it to the next level. Joanne, Christopher, congratulations.
Joanne and I would like to thank Jose Luis and Ricardo, Christina Mekula, who's been so helpful in organizing this. And also I'd like to thank Barry Tucker, although I don't see him. He's done an awful lot for Lehman, and I've known Barry for 60 years, believe it or not. This is especially satisfying for me personally because I'm a frustrated teacher. For years, I've coached college kids on the side, despite my day job, basically by email. Despite a very busy schedule, it worked out very well, and if I may say so, I've had extraordinary success teaching these kids. I did it on such a small scale. I'm doing it on such a small scale. It's nice to see such a great vehicle here, and I think through my speech, you'll see how you could be a further help to Lehman. Why did what I do work so well? For one thing, I paid for everything. I would generally do or try to do a couple of things. I'd pay full tuition, room and board where that was required, a stipend, and whatever else was necessary. My attitude was I would try to do for the student what I do for my own children, literally. And they've become, in a way, although they and I don't think of it this way, sort of a parent-child relationship. I also acted as a guidance counselor, which is very difficult, trying to get a kid into school and working with the school and getting all the paperwork done. And then where it was necessary, and this is very valuable, I would give rousing speeches of encouragement. Unlike tonight. And it works because the kids I deal with generally are very, very, very poor. In some cases, far poorer than anyone we'd come across, even in the Western Hemisphere. And no one tells them how extraordinary they are. No one acknowledges how well they have done. For example, I coached two kids who were going to Borough of Manhattan Community College, and I said, what's this little star after your name? They had no idea. Long story short, they were Phi Beta Kappa equivalents. And I said, do you realize how outstanding this is? And no one tells them this. Their family, their neighbors, no one says that if you're getting all A's, you're going to do extremely well. And I helped them with their papers, and I'd see their teachers' comments. It's an excellent school, okay? And Lehman is doubly excellent. I mean, the level of excellence is really astounding, because I would try to get kids into Lehman, and it was hard. It was a very demanding school. The Now, to the extent I've succeeded, I have to attribute this to certain mentors I've had, one of which is Whitney Tilson. If you can remember nothing, further of what I say, please remember this. Google Whitney Tilson. Susan Tilson and Whitney Tilson are founders of the Democrats for Educational Reform. Whitney's a child of parents of teachers globally himself, and he's been extremely helpful to me in telling me which way to go. He has an astounding record. The second is Jaime Escalante. Jaime Escalante, in my opinion, was the best high school teacher ever to exist. Almost. There's one other. He took a class of inner city kids. They did so well under his tutelage that the Educational Testing Service made the kids take their test, their SAT test, their calculus SAT test all over again. And they did better the second time than the first time. When I had a student in Kenya, and progressing remarkably, she got into the University of Nairobi, which is the Harvard of Africa. She became the highest, the female with the highest grades, highest scoring female, and half the students are females. There was just one problem. She was terrified to walk in the door. Here she comes from basically herding goats into this modern lecture hall, and she was overwhelmed by it. So I asked Escalante, and she was sitting in the back row and so forth. I asked Escalante what I should do. By the way, he was on his deathbed, and he was still coaching me. He said, tell her to sit in the front row, tell her to look at the professor squarely in the eyes. If she has any question, raise her hand, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then for you, what you should do is read Vince Lombardi. Vince Lombardi, he said, yes. You read the speech. I read the speeches. He was a very moving speaker, very encouraging. And I had to do this with her. I won't go into the speech, but it worked. And she later interviewed with Columbia and Oxford, and where she stumbled was on the GMAT. This is going into graduate school. She stumbled on the GMAT. She'd never seen a Venn diagram. They don't have SAT coaching, none of that stuff. And she scored only in the 18th percentile. Oh, okay, back to the rousing speech. I know that the SAT is, in my opinion, a joke. I took it 4 times, and my score went up every time without thank you, without any coaches. She took it 3 times. Her score jumped over 300 points. GMAT told me that happens once in every 29,000 cases. 2,900 cases. So so my conclusion is that these kids are really equal all over the world, whether it's Harlem in Manhattan or Harlem in Holland or Guam or Guatemala or West Germany or the German Republic or the Dominican Republic. I think they all start basically with the same material. And we all live way, way within our capacity to improve. And just one final thought was my second best example of a high school teacher is Abraham Flexner, who died a long time ago. The president of Harvard called him and said, Mr. Flexner, you're a high school principal, your students are better prepared than the students we get from Choate and Phillips Academy. How can this be? What are you doing? And furthermore, they're a year younger. And he explained how he did it. I won't go into the explanation, but I'll tell you my conclusion. He did it because he only had 5 students, okay? He could give them 100% of his time, A. B, these kids, by the way, were sort of ne'er-do-wells. They came in as ne'er-do-wells, but their parents were all affluent. They paid tuition the equivalent of $50,000 to $100,000 a year each in the dollars of 1906 or something like this. So in other words, they had infinite money. He took raw material. He was a wonderful teacher. He later founded the School for Advanced Study at Princeton and did a lot of work at Johns Hopkins. That's another thing, another matter. But there have also been some, in final wrap-up, Bill Macaulay went to the industrialist Bill Macaulay, who established Macaulay Scholars, went to the New York public college system, as did Lee Cooperman of Omega, and of course Bernard Baruch down at City College. So folks, that's the potential I foresee for Lehman. It's a great vehicle, great teachers, and you've got wonderful raw material to work with. Thank you.
You'll be happy to know I'm not going to speak.
Thank you to Christopher and Joanne. I am now delighted to present the President's Medal posthumously to Edith and Herbert Lehman. Wendy Lehman Lash, their granddaughter and president of the Edith and Herbert Lehman Foundation, and Will Lash is here to accept the medal on behalf of the Lehman family. A responsibility for helping others. This is the essential value that was imbued early on in the lives of both Edith and Herbert Lehman. And this is a responsibility that they accepted with enthusiasm, determination, and consequence. In 1969, on the occasion that our college was dedicated to his memory, Herbert H. Lehman was described as a peaceful but militant fighter against the injustices which demeaned man, a courageous statesman who welcomed dissent, who challenged the existing order, but who at all times was steadfast in his devotion to the rule of reason, a leader who believed that an educated generation was the true hope not only of a free America, but a free world. In addition to serving as his most influential and entrusted political advisor, the governor's lifelong partner, Edith A. Lehman, established her mark through meaningful philanthropic efforts in support of organizations that helped the poor, the elderly, and the disadvantaged. In living the lives they did, Edith and Herbert Lehman have provided all of us here tonight with a powerful image of how thoughtful, intentional, and sustained work can transform lives and enrich communities. Wendy, Will.
On behalf of my extended family, thank you very much, President Cruz. Incidentally, family present tonight include 2 grandchildren, 3 great-grandchildren, and various relatives from Bernard, Morgenthau, and McCluskey side of the family. This wonderful honor signifies how central the values of Edith and Herbert Lehman still are to this institution 50 years after it was decided to make my grandfather its namesake. I remember coming to the dedication of the college with my grandmother 50 years ago. I'm not that old. My grandparents were a team, modest and formidable. They encouraged and backed each other every step of the way, using their intellect, moral sense, and means to champion all kinds and causes, great and small. My great-grandfather's funeral, his great friend Edward Weinfeld, then the judge and United States District Court judge at the District Court, praised him for his career in public service. It was without parallel in our times for his duration, its dedication and devotion, and for its impact upon millions of people, and here, there, throughout the world, he said. Judge Weinfeld also spoke of the great love and constant devotion that Herbert and Edith shared for more than 54 years, and how every member of the family and friend knew the depth of their warmth and affection. They were especially proud of their children and grandchildren. No matter how busy they were, they always had time for us, which meant that my grandfather, pausing amid the nation's most important work to greet us in the Senate office, would come to visit us in his office, important to greet us in his office. He also would come and roughhouse with me on the island of Nantucket when I managed to break his shoulder. Or my grandmother seeking our company whenever possible, including visiting us in London, where she particularly enjoyed hosting us at dinner in her suite for us and our beloved bearded collie, whom she entertained by rolling a ball down the long corridors of Claridge's Hotel. Indeed, the nurturing and formative support of children was something my grandparents put great emphasis on. They loved giving the children's zoo in Central Park, but they were also supportive of Henry Street Settlement, where there remains a building called Pete's House, named for my father, Peter Lehman, who was killed in World War II, and a number of educational focused organizations like Williams College, where there is a dormitory called Lehman. Please don't let that happen here. That's why this honor being given to them tonight is truly significant. In so many ways, Lehman College is continuing the work of my grandparents in improving the well-being of our friends and neighbors, particularly the underprivileged everywhere, while readying subsequent generations for the challenges ahead. The qualities they revered, compassion, charity, humanitarianism, and the issues they championed, equality and justice, defined our nation. Although today we are witnessing a perversion of those American values in our nation's capital, I believe with all my heart that all the values my grandparents held dear will endure despite the policies and politics of the day. The college's transformation The college's transformative capabilities are representative of the generosity and encouragement that my grandparents afforded to young people daily. You are making a difference in a way that Herbert and Edith Lehman innately understood, guided as they were by values that put helping others in the most noble endeavors. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Haley Channer.
Hi, my name is Amna Azim.
My name is Hillary Frank.
Elias Alcantara from the Bronx, New York.
When I saw that I got into the Lehman Scholars Program, I was like, this is it. I can go to college, I can get an education, I can be somebody.
The Lehman Scholars Program, the scholarship I receive is a big way of me being able to even go to school in the beginning.
Financial security is very important to me. Just taking out loans or having to work through a college was something that I was very afraid of because I wanted to focus on my education. And the Lehman Scholarship has allowed me to do that.
Coming into college gave me the opportunity to really widen and expand my horizons.
Scholarships are extremely important to students.
Receiving the scholarship gives me this drive.
That scholarship that I received freshman year, that allowed me the confidence and the time and the energy to go and apply for other things that enhance my academic experience.
It's kind of like a motivation tool. It's like I was given money so that I can use this ability that I have to strive and move forward and push to be the success that people see in me.
Opportunity has been a constant theme, and when I think about Lehman College, one of the first words that I think of is opportunity.
I don't know how to put it into words how important the Lehman Scholarship Fund has been to me.
I am forever grateful for the Lehman Scholars Program because they allowed me to really shoot past what I thought my potential was.
And that's why I think everyone should invest in this program, because it gives us this validation of this confidence that what we're doing is right and we're actually capable of going forward and doing something.
To be trained and acquire the skills needed to be successful in life at a place like Lehman College, and then be able to just a few years later, walk into the Oval Office at the White House and brief the President of the United States. And then on top of that, tell him I'm from the Bronx. If that's not a full circle, successful moment, I don't know what is.
We just heard the stories of 4 of the more than 13,000 awe-inspiring Lehman students. Students who embody the hopes of more than 140 ancestries. Students whose drive exhibits the determination of those who strive to make their life here, in the world's greatest city, the city of New York. Students who seek to meet their full potential to not only improve their own lot in life, but also transform the communities they represent. Students who have entrusted the college I am privileged to lead with the formidable responsibility of helping transform their aspirations into reality. So tonight, I ask you to help us help them to meet their full potential, because in doing so, they will help us move the world. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you. Mom, you did a wonderful job. Very impressed. With that said, I need you to keep in mind one number, and you will get to that in a minute, but it's $7,000, all right? And with that said, I just wanted to start off by just a small history lesson, which we're all painfully aware of. 50 years ago, you had a leader by the name of Martin Luther King, who was essentially the conscience of racism in America. And his accomplishments obviously speak volumes today. 20 years before that, there was a gentleman that got the name of the conscience of the Senate, and that's my great-grandfather. And he was the conscience of the Senate and one of the first to speak up and speak out on McCarthyism. We are going to run into these things every 10 years or every year. With that said, today we have President Cruz. And I am supposed to speak and give you a toast on this. And what I say to you is more along the lines of, I give you a challenge. I challenge you to be the conscience of not only higher education for Lehman College and the Bronx, but for all of us in America. In this day and age, it doesn't matter if you're black, you're white, you're purple, you're Muslim, whatever God you believe in, whatever color your skin is, who you choose to sleep behind closed doors with is none of our business. But what is your business is the goodness of human beings. And this is something that Herbert H. Lehman stood for and personified in every aspect of his life. And I see that in President Cruz. And I expect high, high hopes for you, and I have extremely higher expectations of what you are going to be able to achieve in the Bronx and for the rest of higher education. Lehman College would not be where it is right now without the people that work behind the scenes. And I have to acknowledge Myrna Rivera and Ira Cohen, because they give their blood, sweat, and tears for Lehman College and have done astonishing things with the board and the student body and with our new star, Susan Ebersol. Yes. So with that said, this takes money, and this is why you're here. So we've made it really, really easy for you. I assume some people have one of these. It's a smartphone. If you know how to text message, then you can contribute to Lehman tonight. And it'll be in real time. Your name will not be posted, but the numbers will. Now back to $7,000. What does $7,000 get? It gets that young lady a dream for 1 year. 7,000. So we need to raise at least, I'd like to see 50 more scholarships tonight. So that's 350,000. Right? I did the math right? Yes? Okay, good. With that said, in your programs, there's the paper side, Dad, you can use. And then there's the text on your phone. And literally, in the title line, you put in 41444. And then you write your text. No emojis, I apologize. But you write Lehman, space, $1 million, space, your name. Press send. You will then get a text back to click on a link where you put your name in, you put your email in, and you put your credit card information in. And then you press submit. And when you submit, on the screens, wherever they may be, the numbers will start piling up. So why don't we start now? Here is my phone. I did 4144. I did Lehman. I only did $100. I expect more out of the rest of you. Mom and Dad are still here, you know how it goes. And then you press the link and put in your info. So at any time this evening, you can do it right this very second, or you can do it over dessert, or you can do it in the car ride home, or you can do it tomorrow morning, or you can do it whenever you'd like. And you can do it now, according to Myrna. See, I told you. That's a firecracker we like on our team. So with that said, are we getting, oh, look at the, oh, wow. I like 5,000. Your scotch is on me. So we've got 30 so far. How long do you want me to be up here? Because I can really do this all night. So one of my greatest influences in my life is my dear father. And the one thing that he has absolutely sort of drilled into me from day one and has said unequivocally, there is absolutely no substitute for education. And this he is correct. And if we can get these students in there, and those that can't afford get the opportunity, we can combat the ridiculousness that is going on in Washington. You'll have those tools to be able to walk into the president's office and speak to him eye to eye, because I know you can do it. No matter how nervous you get, you can do that, because you've got the brains and you've got the talent. And you deserve every penny of your scholarship. You're an extremely impressive woman. Madam, your mother has shaped the minds of American youth for a very long time. That is worth millions by itself. We thank you for your talent as well, of course. But we have this opportunity And President Cruz's 90 for 30 is one thing, and I think it's a good jumping off point for him. But I expect more, and I want more. And he has the tools to do it, and we need the student body. So let's offer it to anybody that wants to learn. So with that said, we're up to 59. I gotta keep going. I'm told I can't leave until there's 100, so. How much do you guys want to listen to me? It's entirely up to you. I don't mind, I can talk all the time. So today, I went to Hermes and I exchanged the tie that my wife brought back from Paris. I got the one with the dolphins. She thought it was sharks.
Another minute. Kathy, is that okay with you, or do you want to go to Mag?
62. Okay. Maybe I will start reading Sir Tannenbaum's book. It's 700 pages, and it's pretty actually good. You know, the man put his blood, sweat, and tears into it for 10 years, and it is an amazing, just insightful, and I've gotten through about 2.5 of the 3 inches. The book is that thick. So where are we? 68. All right, maybe I'll step down at 75. Or somebody can just put up like 300 grand and I'm done. Either way, honestly, we appreciate you all being here and taking the time out of everything you do. And your contributions are appreciated. And please, give more, because this student body is worth it, and we can make the changes that are necessary in this world when they have the tools, and this school can do that. With that said, I honor my great-grandfather, excuse me, and I look forward to seeing all of you pledge some more money.
Please welcome Lehman President Jose Luis Cruz back to the podium to present the Distinguished Alumni and Artistic Achievement Awards.
Thank you. I would now like to present the Distinguished Alumnus Award to 2 of our most distinguished graduates, Phyllis and Ivan Seidenberg from the classes of 1971 and 1972, respectively. Born in the Bronx, Phyllis received a bachelor's degree from Hunter and a master's from Lehman before teaching at PS1 in the borough she called home. Her experiences as an elementary school teacher in one of our country's most distressed counties only served to sharpen her understanding of what it takes to make meaningful progress in this world, and that is to focus on those who need our help the most. Ivan's remarkable career trajectory at New York Telephone and then Verizon is the American dream writ large. A Lehman math major, his story is solid evidence that an adult learner attending classes part-time and at night can work his way to the top of a global industry. And become a college's renowned and distinguished alumnus. Ivan's story is an inspiration to so many of our students who, despite having to juggle the demands of a full-time job as well as college, are enthusiastically pursuing their passions and dreaming big. Our students are encouraged by Phyllis and Ivan to know that their efforts today can and will translate into a better future for themselves, their families, and their communities. Please join me in congratulating Phyllis and Ivan Seidenberg.
I'm not the orator in this family, so I prepared a few sentences. We thank you so very much for this honor. We have such fond memories of our college days back in the Bronx. Attending Lehman College and receiving all the tools, the skills, knowledge, and confidence needed for a successful, rewarding, and meaningful life. To borrow a line from Paul McCartney, Lehman, thanks for yesterday.
Okay, that was great. So, did McCartney ever play the lawn at Lehman, you think? So, just a couple of thoughts here. First of all, thank you, President Cruz. Thank you very much for those kind and generous words of introduction and allowing Phyllis and I to celebrate this evening with you. I would like to acknowledge all of the other honorees for their wonderful stories and their contributions to the Lehman cause. Thank you for all you do. For us, as you just heard, this is really a special night. Not only do we get to celebrate it with you, but for the past 2 weeks, we've been reminiscing about every street in the Bronx and every day at Lehman that we could remember. It's been a lot of fun. As you heard, we are both children of the Bronx. So right, there you go. So our entire world was defined by Orchard Beach to Yankee Stadium, or from PS1, where Phyllis started her career as an elementary school teacher in the South Bronx, to the telephone company garage on 180th Street and Tremont Avenue, where I started at the telephone company. And we both ended up at Lehman, which is our gateway to the world, believe it or not. Okay. Now, there's an old adage that all of you have probably heard in different forms, that good fortune favors a prepared mind. Yeah. So this is where Lehman really excels. So 2 kids from the Bronx go to Lehman, and what we've learned were skills and knowledge, critical thinking skills, learning how to be lifelong learners, and then they thrust us out into the world and said, you kind of got the first step going. If you think about the transformation of Lehman over the last 50 years, it's pretty extraordinary. And I would just like to acknowledge one more time my friend Ricardo for the great job he did the past 25 years. Now, all of you know that a great education is a first step, but it's not the only step. And if we copy or listen to the great words of another native of the Bronx, General Colin Powell, there you go. He always liked to say, quote, "A dream does not become a reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work." It's what you would think Colin Powell would say, isn't it? Right. So when you think about it, you have a situation where you have a great education, you're prepared, you add a little bit of that Bronx values of family, community, and hard work, and you're off and running. I'd like to close by reading something that was said by our namesake, Herbert Lehman. What he said was, "It is immigrants who brought this land the skills of their dreams and brains and hands to make of it a beacon of opportunity and hope for all people." And believe it or not, if you have a passport with enough pages, that's inscribed in your passport. That's right. So he kind of understood the nature of the Bronx all along, didn't he? Okay. So as you celebrate this evening, you should feel very proud of all that's been accomplished in President Cruz. We applaud you for what you're doing, and we hope that you will tackle the next 50 years and continue to transform this little perfect school called Lehman and serve its greater community and do great things for its people. Thank you very much.
I would now like to present the Lehman Award for Artistic Achievement to Kerry Washington. A proud Bronx native whose mother, Valerie, is a retired Lehman professor and now chair of the board of directors of the Lehman Center for the Performing Arts. Kerry has pushed herself in her education and her art, showing everyone that hard work and tenacity are keys to success. She broke barriers by becoming the first African-American woman to headline a network drama since 1974. Her portrayal of crisis manager Olivia Pope on the hit show Scandal has earned her numerous accolades and has, on occasion, led many of us who face a crisis every now and then to wish we could call on her for advice. In addition to raising a family and tending to her many other artistic and professional endeavors, including running her own production company, Simpson Street, Kerry Washington makes time to fight for a better world. And we are grateful that she consistently lifts her powerful voice to advocate for social justice, LGBTQ rights, arts in education, and many other important causes. Indeed, Kerry serves as ample proof to our students that staunch community activism can and should be part of a life well lived. Ms. Washington, congratulations.
I love the Bronx. I love being from the Bronx. I love being a child of the Bronx. I feel like the odd woman out tonight because there are so many fancy alumna in the room. But I want to let you know that I consider myself somewhat an alumni of Lehman College, and I'll tell you why. When I was a child, I used to come to work sometimes with my working mother. I think I owe a lot of my ambition and work ethic and determination to the fact that I was raised by two hard-working parents in the Bronx. My mom and dad are extraordinary role models, but I got to go to work with my mother often and see her stand in a lecture hall in front of hundreds of students. And she'll tell you she doesn't do well speaking in public. But maybe she doesn't consider a classroom public, because in front of a classroom, she's magic. So I got to sit and watch my mother transform the lives of students in the Bronx. And she would sometimes say, because she was a professor of elementary education, she would say something like, "What might a second grader love about this book?" And if nobody raised their hand, there was a second grader in the room. So that is the reason why I consider that in some ways I have a Lehman College education. Lehman is an extraordinary place. It was important for me, it was life-changing for me to grow up and be witness to a beautiful campus in the Bronx. There can be stereotypes out there in the world about what the Bronx is or what we were or what it's like to be from the Bronx. But when I think about the Bronx, one of the things I think about is this beautiful college campus and the learning that went on in that campus, the ongoing learning for me. Later in my academic career in high school, if I was struggling in a subject, my tutors were students at Lehman. My mom would find somebody who could help me to take that next leap forward, and she had the resources to do that because the academic commitment at Lehman provided that resource for her. She was creating learners, and they were helping me to learn. I'm so grateful for what Lehman stands for. Over 50% of the students at Lehman are from the Bronx. I take a lot of pride in that. And as President Cruz mentioned, they're from all over the world. These are our next leaders. I'm thrilled to be here tonight because I want to remind you of the power that you have to change the lives of students in the Bronx. There was a study done that says that Lehman College is 4th in the nation in mobility rate. What that means is that they are 4th when it comes to taking a student from the lowest economic rung and giving them the tools to enter the middle class and beyond. Being here tonight is fun and wonderful. The food is really good. I hadn't been here since this was a theater. It's all really cool. But the point of being here tonight is that what Lehman does is they make it possible for anybody who can withstand the academic rigors to go to school with a lower tuition and with financial support so that they leave with an education. They are not crippled with paralyzing debt. That is so important. So I know that you gave tonight. I know that many of you gave. For those of you who didn't give, consider giving, even just a little bit. It'll make you feel better about yourselves. And if you gave and you can give more, because it will make a difference to the extraordinary students who are here tonight. If you haven't met them, they are fantastic. I have had the honor of meeting them. And what I think when I meet them and chat with them this evening is that they are a portion of the magic that is happening up in the Bronx at Lehman College. They are a sliver of the potential that's on that campus. So thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for this beautiful honor. I'm so humbled to be up here with my fellow honorees who I have enormous respect for. I'm so grateful to both of my parents and especially my mom. And I'll close by telling you this. When I gave the commencement address at GW, which is where I went to school, I wore my mother's gown because I grew up watching her be a professor at Lehman College and walk at commencement, and it was a symbol to me of excellence. And so when I had an opportunity to be up on that stage, I took Lehman with me. So thank you.
I'd now like to ask all honorees to join me on stage for a photograph and some more well-deserved applause. All honorees, please come back up. Let's give our honorees one more round of applause. So, thank you so much for being here with us tonight to share this important milestone of the history of Lehman College. In closing, Please be certain that with your help, in the years ahead, we will not only further establish Lehman as a driver of transformative change in the borough we call home, but also inspire others to better support the millions of talented students beyond our borough who are coming of age in America today, but who, because the color of their skin, the balance of their checking account, their place of origin, who they choose to love, or the tenets of their faith, have not yet been afforded the opportunities to meet their full potential. Thank you for all you do day in and day out to make this a better America. This concludes our evening. Thank you so much for your time and generosity. We hope to see you again next year.